Oh, well, it would always be caution, right? Caution, because you never know what a human's going to do.
That's right.
And your human is the best thing in the world. So, you know, take caution when you meet mine.
Hey everyone, Jonathan Bannister, your host of Home Service Hustle, where we talk about marketing, mindset, and money. Today's guest is Sarah Ghirardo. She is the Senior Marketing Operations Manager at Service Titan. She's also the co-chair of Lady Titans. Sarah, if you do not know her, this young lady is just walking around with more marketing knowledge probably in the tips of her fingers than myself or anyone that I probably know. She is just a breath of fresh air to talk to, mainly because not only is she so sharp and intelligent, but she is so caring, and her passion in life is wanting to give back, and she wants to see everybody win and succeed. So I hope you enjoy today's episode. I hope you take something away from Sarah today. And guys, I just want you to help me and introduce Sarah Ghirardo. All right, we're live. So Sarah, welcome to the show. We had a little bit of some technical difficulties there, and we've had some fun. So let's start with, how you been doing?
Good. Thanks for having me on the show. I know we booked this out like a month ago, but here we are today. So
I know. And what's cool is like you and I just talked a little bit before I asked you to come on the show, and I just was like picking your brain on kind of marketing stuff, because I'll tell you that's one of the things that I thoroughly enjoy is you jump on those threads, on those private Facebook groups, and I mean you just drop a wealth of knowledge. And after reading your motto that you kind of left us to come on the show here, it clearly explains who you are and why you do that. So, yeah. I mean, you truly want to give back. You want to help people, and you want to see them grow, and you want to see them succeed, and I think that's awesome.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, I started in the trades not knowing anything, and to be honest, someone just gave me a chance. And I think that people just need chances and to ask the right questions, and to, not have to be charged for advice, because I'm not a vendor. I'm not soliciting something. I'm just here to help. And that's my purpose, is to always give back. So I'll do it any way that I can.
So let's talk about, how did you get started? So you said you got started in trade, somebody gave you a chance, but where did your marketing background come from? Because it's extensive. I mean, and I don't know what your pedigree looks like, but I will tell you that the wealth of knowledge that you have inside your brain with marketing is pretty amazing. So let's hear about it, because I don't really know where it comes from.
Yeah, thank you. Well, I did get a degree in marketing.
Okay.
But the degree was completely kind of useless when you think about it, because digital came so drastically, like when I actually started working in the trades, and predominant. And so I had to really hit the ground running and take classes and Google and ask others. And then I just never stopped asking questions. I wanted to take it to the next level and the next level, and reading and writing and all of those things. But really, so I got a degree in marketing. I went on to not work in marketing because, I graduated from college, and then the economy crashed. And so I wound up being a chiropractic assistant, an admin assistant for a while. And that was interesting. And then finally I moved on to a company called Bevmo, and I started in the warehouse, actually their e-commerce store, shipping, alcohol to customers and doing private orders. But someone took a chance on me at Bevmo and promoted me into their customer service department. And so I ran that for about 5-6 years. And then running rare whiskey allocations for Bevmo. And really, it's outbound sales, and it's always marketing. You're always marketing. Well, the person at Bevmo that saw me wasn't even on my team. His name was Mark. And he reached out to me one time when I was on vacation, and he said, "You know what, Sarah, I have a job. It's not sexy, but it's where you live in Pleasanton, and it's for a local HVAC company." And they're like, at that point, there were $21 million in revenue. And I was like, okay, well, what would I be doing? And they're like, well, we'd love for you to head up the customer service department. And I told him, I was like, yeah, no, I don't want to do that. I'm over customer service. I really want to get back into marketing. And he was like, okay, well, give me some time and let's figure this out. So he gave me a chance and hired me as a marketing manager. And from there, I just kept growing and growing. And in the end, I was the director of digital marketing for their business. And it's probably one of the most rewarding jobs that I've ever had.
So Sarah was a bootlegger.
Yep.
I made notation of that. I mean, that's an interesting fact that I would have never been able to guess. So, so you went from bootlegger to running the marketing side of a huge air conditioning company. Okay.
Yeah.
Narrows it all down.
Now
I get it.
Service titan. Yeah.
So
it's like, whew.
So one thing I want to touch on that you said that wasn't going to be one of my topics that we were going to talk about, but I find it interesting because my sister-in-law actually has a marketing degree, and like when it comes to digital, like you said, it was useless. And it kind of is. Like it's not something that your traditional marketing degrees are going through how to do GMB or how to do SEO or PPC, and so when it comes to a company that is thinking about bringing their marketing in-house, I want to get your advice, but I always give the advice and say, listen, it kind of depends on what your plans are, right? Like if this person's going to be a marketing manager and they're going to manage your vendors, that's one thing. But if you think that you're going to be able to find someone who has a marketing degree, and I don't care if it's a master's degree in marketing, they're not going to be able to do every piece of your marketing. They may be able to help do your billboards, or they may be able to, manage the content that's going out or something, but they're not going to know how to create backlinks and rank your GMB and, how to properly do Google AdWords or YouTube ads, right? So what is your advice when a company is considering bringing it in-house? What do you typically tell someone?
Yeah, most definitely. So internal marketers are a part of your brand, right? And they're there every single day. And why you have an internal marketer is to manage your vendors, to manage those partnerships, to build strong relationships with others, and to also manage your budget, because that's a really important part when it comes to marketing. You have your capacity of going influx constantly. Well, you need that internal marketer to communicate to your external vendors as to what's happening inside with your brand. And so, everyone's like, well, should I get an internal marketer? Well, if you don't want to work in your business and you want to work on your business, my suggestion is to get an internal marketer to manage those vendors, because vendor management is, like I said, it's a partnership. And I have made a lot of my mentors are actually from my vendors or were my vendors, and they have guided me along through the process. And, I've helped them build product. I've helped them in a lot of ways, but really they've helped me by giving me education. And that's what I always promote when it comes to partnerships with vendors is, teach me something and I'll teach you something. And if I don't teach you anything, then I'm sorry, but I'll give it a whirl.
Right. So,
Yeah.
So you're now at Service Titan, and you are the co-chair for the Lady Titans. So let's talk about the Lady Titans. What is it? What does it mean to you? And what can we kind of introduce to, or something our guests may not know about Lady Titans?
Yeah, most definitely. So Lady Titans was started by Lauren Vahe, Stacy Four, Jessica Woodworth Smith, and I'm saying that name because it's on Facebook and that's how you'll find her. But really what they wanted to do was get together a group of women in the trades, or get together as a group of women in the trades and just talk and have a conversation. And so Lauren shouted out to Vahe and was like, hey, this is not a drill. Like, we want to meet up. We want to do this. Well, this was right before COVID happened, and meetups were not a thing, but they did start this women's group. And what it is, it's a great group. It's free to join. You don't have to be a Service Titan member. It's really a group for women in the trades or women in technology that partner with the trades, or vendors that partner with the trades, to get together and empower women to use their voice and to stand up and speak and acknowledge that, yes, at one time, HVAC industry and the trades are really male dominant, but at the same time, there's a lot of women out there that are running the show. And, our job is just to empower them and provide them with tools, training, or just simply a conversation with a peer to see how we can build each other up.
No, I think it's great. And some of those women that you said are clients of mine, and there's a few others that are part of that group. So Stacy and Cassie, they're very strong, dominant women, and I absolutely love it, right? Like, I love seeing the mark that the ladies are trying to make in this industry, and to kind of show that, that it's not a male only dominant, place at this time, right? And there's some really powerful women.
I don't think they're trying to. That's a nice word that you used. I don't think they're trying to make a wave. I think they are making waves.
That's right. So. No, you're 100% right. They are making a wave. Yep.
Yeah.
I love it. No, I love it.
Yeah. So, and Stacy, I met her on a webinar, right? The very first week I started at Service Titan. That's the best story ever. So I started at Service Titan, and Vahe was like, hey, can you join this webinar? I'm like, hey, I'm 4 days in. Okay. And so I met Stacy, and she was like, and I looked at her marketing, and we were talking about it just in general. And I was like, do you have a budget? Like, what's going on in the back end? And so I got to become really good friends with her, and she helped me through a lot of my life, like, changes in the past couple of years. And that partnership I'm forever grateful for. So.
Yeah, she has one of the biggest hearts of anyone that you'll ever find, and the way they run their company and the way that they hire their staff, it's an amazing story in itself. So I try to, I told her recently, I said, if I could find 100 new clients that all were like you and your husband, I said, my life would be really okay. They're just good people, So
they're good people.
So let's talk about marketing. Let's talk about it from, because there's two different sides. Obviously there's marketing, what you do on the marketing pro side from Service Titan, and so your everyday job. But then there's the marketing that you're always giving the advice and tips to these business owners, because you've been on both sides of it. So what are some tips? What are some of the major things that you like to tell a company? Let's think about a company that's only a few years in. Let's say they're in that $1 million to $1.5 million, $2 million total revenue range, but they're wanting to grow, but they may not have the marketing capital to really push forward. What are some of the core pieces that you tell them that they should be focusing on?
Yeah, most definitely. And I'll tell any size business this. It's really math before marketing, but math before operations, right? You have to do the math. You need to start with forecasting your capacity to ensure that you have enough people to run the calls, or how many calls you need to run. And then really come up with a budget of marketing expenses that makes sense. That would be my very first, do the math. And Marcia Barnes is the one that actually said math before marketing, so I don't want to misquote her. But I see a lot of wasted spend, and I see a lot of people just going out there throwing money at the wall. And so that's really why I want to help back, because there's a budget that needs to be in place. The other opportunity that I really see is in just free listings, right? Like Google Business Places. Those aren't optimized. If you want to start somewhere, start there. and make sure that your listing is set up and ready to go. The other thing would be reputation. Someone needs to manage that reputation, because the consumer journey, if you think about how you search and when you're looking for something, what's the first thing that you go to? Well, either your voice will pull up Yelp, or your search will pull up, if you typed in a name directly, it'll pull up a listing on the side, and it'll show the stars, where our brains and our emotions will go to those stars and resonate. And so that's your reputation. So that really needs to be managed for your brand. So, and I see that all the time. Like, all of these two things are just missing. And those are the two easiest things to just go out and fix. And the last thing is really just utilize your existing clients, nurture them, and understand that you can build, it's a gold mine of opportunity. So what you might have missed on one call is an opportunity for another call. So always speak to them and nurture them in ways that they need, because it is the year of the brand, and it's going to continue to be the year of the brand going into 2022. And so however you can build your brand, I would urge you to do that.
Obviously, I would say here, let me tell you a quick story. So here recently, we've had a client where I've been able to see firsthand how important brand is. So obviously, brand, to me, like, we know that it helps with conversions. We know that it drives down, can obviously drive down your marketing spend and budget as years go on and your brand gets stronger. But we had one of our clients that they had a trademark violation that was brought up against them from Google. And we kept submitting the paperwork to try and get this taken care of. And what was happening was it was caught up in Google's cycle, right? And we just could not get out of it. And they just kept saying, we still don't see where you own the rights to this trademark. Clearly, we were submitting the legal paperwork from the state of California that they owned it. So what we did in the meantime, while we were trying to fix this, is we created another entire campaign that was non-branded ads. So we went out and we bought different domains of the local cities that we were trying to target. Now, the landing pages could be branded to my client's company, but the actual ad and the ad copy could not. And what happens is when you have 3 ads, let's say, you're on page 1 placement and there's either 2 ads or 3 ad spots. But let's say when we kept finding it and we kept, we were consistently still having page 1 placement. But when you had the ad that was smashed in between 2 companies that had a brand, so it was like Arctic Air, and then it was, PalmdaleAirCondition.com, and then it was another Polar Bear Express or something. And I was just amazed at the amount of traction that we lost because of it. Because one, even if it was getting the clicks because it was the top of the page placement, people were so confused by, well, this says this city name, then you click on it and it's actually a branded landing page. But obviously we had to do it that way because we weren't going to make up a complete fake company. But that's one of the first times, other than looking at conversion numbers going down and conversion rates going up, but cost per conversion going down because of a client that has a very strong brand. This was a time where I, got to, witness with my own eyes where numbers could just completely tank because you have no brand recognition at all. And I can see where you take a business that is only focused on the marketing and advertising, and they're throwing money out there trying to make some things work, and they may be with a company that knows how to perform a successful campaign, but if there's no brand behind that company whatsoever, it's going to be a struggle. And so I would love to maybe hear you touch a little bit more on, how important do you feel, the brand is, and at what point do you start shifting some of your marketing and advertise dollars towards that brand? Because right out the gate, obviously, you may not see an instant return on investment by putting money into your brand. So what kind of advice do you give people when they start asking you, like, Sarah, I want to grow my business, and then you start kind of talking about brand, and it's like, well, how much should I put towards my brand? Or, am I going to see a return? Am I going to lose money on this? I mean, these are questions that we have clients ask all the time. So will you touch on that a little bit?
Yeah, most definitely. I never think so. Brand is something special, right? Brand is something that you start out with when you figure out your why of why you are actually running your business, right? That's when you really set your brand. You're setting in stone your core values. You're starting to speak of your brand, and your brand speaks throughout the entire organization. So it starts with what you set as an owner, and it goes through the people. And the people can be a very easy way to sell your brand without saying, hey, I need to go on TV, I need to go on radio, I need to go on the big brand awareness things. Your brand starts with how you show up. So it's never too late to start branding. You're going to see an ROI on any branding that you do when you just align yourself with who you are. Now, if I'm going out there in TV and radio, I wouldn't say, if I didn't have 35% of my marketing budget to even go into TV and radio, and I didn't know the competitive saturation, and I didn't know a lot of my math, without talking to vendors and analyzing, is this where I should be? I wouldn't go to the big, brand efforts yet. I would do my work to see, okay, am I going to have enough market share impression? Is the market saturation in that market enough for my budget? And that's really where, I talk to businesses. I'm like, okay, well, if we don't have the budget for TV and radio, let's look at how we can brand, starting with our culture, because the power is our people. And so how can they speak the same common service language, because that is a brand, throughout the entire customer journey, so that it resonates to hit our reviews and our reputation, and it becomes basically how people view our company. So for my old company, it was trustworthy, on time, worry free. Now, sometimes those can be words of platitude, right? They have to have meaning behind it. And so the meaning that we set forth was through the actions and the experience of the customer, we provided the customer, and we provided our teammates. So those words were utilized throughout, not just, it didn't stop on a poster of core values. It went to the CSR call script. It went into our marketing. It went into the technician script. It went into the sales script. It went into the install. And then it went into the nurture of how we would go back to that customer and nurture them. So when you think of brand, think about every customer touch point, and just really start with your why as a company. Like, why did you get started? What do you want to do?
You mentioned, you said something that I loved. You said your brand starts when you show up. Like, that is something so powerful that you just said, because essentially, even if someone doesn't have that 35% of their budget to put towards their brand, right? Like, that's something that could be free. I mean, that's something that we're talking internal coaching. We're talking about making sure that there is a standard that your guys, their shirts are, wrinkle free, that they're shaved, that, that their hair is brushed, right? I mean, like, these are things that the consistency that when you knock on that door, that what you are delivering is that 5-star service that you're telling people you're going to do, right? So I thought that's huge. So how do you feel, like, how much importance do you put towards training in all walks of it, right? Like training, sales training, tech training, just role playing, just where does training sit with you on if you were running a business?
Well, I mean, as a marketer, I'm always learning, and you can never not be a student, right? It's a core value that companies like always take on, and it's you know, and that makes you a leader as well when you're always learning. So training is really important in any process. If it's your own self giving your own self training, but if you're also providing training to your employees of how to operate, how to be a better leader, how to be a better effective communicator, giving life skill training, giving actual on the job training, giving a university training, like all of those are um, they might hit the bottom line, but at the same time, they're going to hit the bottom line for forever in a good way, and they're going to build your revenue. So always invest in your people because they will invest in you back. Like I said, I will always say the power is in your people. And when you give to others, they will want to give back. And there are people that won't, but making sure that they are set up for the job that you have given them, it just makes sense. Like, you could never invest too much in your people is what I would say.
Yeah. So we're gonna finish on this topic in just a second, but I'm gonna throw a random question in there for you. All right. So if humans came with a warning label, what would yours say?
Oh, well, it would always be caution, right? Caution, because you never know what a human's gonna do.
That's
and
right.
your human is the best thing in the world, so take caution when you meet mine.
I like that. I like that. I mean, how tall are you?
Like, not tall.
Yeah, so you're like mighty and fierce. So I can
Right.
see where
They,
you
they
come
call
with the
me,
caution label.
that's literally what they call me. They're like, you're like a firecracker, and we didn't even know. And I was like, yeah, just watch out.
So you say always invest in your people. Like it's the best investment that you can make. And I couldn't agree with you more. A lot of my clients are going to building out their own workshops and war rooms inside of their businesses. I think it's, if you can afford it and you've got the space to do it, I think it's probably one of the best investments you can do. I mean, you could actually bring internal, coaching inside of your business, but to have that on the job training to be able to train your people the exact way that you want to represent yourself, I think is worth its weight in gold.
Yeah, but think about how you can take it to the next level, take it to your community, take it to the schools. Can you build a university inside of those schools where your techs are showing up there, learning with them as well, like the high schools, like you're
Yeah.
giving them a skill set. And then getting the equipment donated from your vendors and asking people, would you like to be a part of this? There's something bigger out there for everybody. And I think that, yeah, we can have universities all day in our area, but are we just helping ourselves, training ourselves, our business within, or are we going out to the community for the next generation and really aligning with that? Like, how do we bring more people into the trades?
Yeah. Is that something that, the organization you work for, Service Titan, is that something that, I've seen that y'all are trying to make a big push into that movement? What are some things that you guys are doing to get more people involved in the trades? Obviously, the Lady Titans is a big part as far as empowering women to run and control, the trades industry. But what are you guys doing from, like you said, the high school or the college perspective to get more people? We're short, right? Like we're short.
Yeah,
A lot.
we're short. Yeah, so Service Titan is working, and Amy Herman is really the one that's in charge of this. She is working with local schools. She's working with partnerships from other countries and other companies to bring in more people to help with the trades. I know personally I've been asked to speak at the local schools here about the trades. And then I was, wanting to partner with a local business to help maybe build a school in our high school. So it's not a maybe. That's really one of my goals for 2022 is to partner with a local trade group to get a school set in our high school here in where I live. So, one small change can lead to bigger impact. So you got to
You're
start
right.
somewhere.
That's right.
Yeah.
No, I think that's great, and I wish you the best of luck. And I'd love to hear the updates on how that goes. I think it's sad to see, how much the trades and the workshops and things have been removed, from our high schools and stuff. And I hope that there can be a big push real soon, because I have seen some guys that, just college wasn't for them. And it's like, and I've seen people that they go ahead and they go to college anyways because it's what they're supposed to do. And then they come out with some, complete useless piece of paper that the degree's never going to help them. And, that's not what they have no passion to want to find a career in what they got their degree in. So now they have a bunch of student loan debt, and I've actually seen them get into the HVAC space, and first year they're making six figures, right? Like as a selling tech, and then they become a full-time salesperson or comfort consultant, and they're making 200,000 plus as a successful salesperson, and it's like,
yeah, they made more money than I did as a marketer. Right. Like, I mean, they were banking, and I was like, okay, not only are they banking, they're providing for their family. And the company, and we didn't just stop at giving them, a school to learn from. We gave them leadership skills. We sent them to Rapport International and other leadership camps and taught them how to buy a home and taught them how to do CPR. Like, it's about building a human, not just building a tech. So that's really what we focused on in our company, and I 100% support, and they did that with me, and it was a gift of life. So that's why I align with the trades, is because they gave me a gift, and now it's my turn to give back.
That's right. I love it. So the tagline of the podcast is marketing, mindset, and money. So we've talked about marketing a good bit. I want to shift over to mindset. So I see the board behind you. I see some vision, goals and things on it. So will you talk about your board? But I also, talk about some of the things that you do on a daily basis for your mindset that may be able to give back and encourage someone else to start implementing some of those things.
Yeah, most definitely. So, when I was working at Service Champions, the owner came to me and he said one day, he said, "Who is Sarah Ghirardo?" And I was like 30 something. And I really didn't know. Had 2 kids, was going through my second marriage, had no idea what was going on in my life. Was just kind of working and didn't know that I really needed to become as self-aware as I needed to become. There was more to learn about myself. And he gave me a gift of a leadership retreat, and I've just been investing in myself ever since. He gave me that gift. And so if I could give an advice to anyone, it would be to invest in yourself to become more self-aware. Read, take leadership courses, but give yourself grace and kindness. And really, for me, it's about loving myself to the whole heart and knowing that I'm going to fail forward and forgive myself quickly and pick back up and have huge wins and huge opportunities and take the chance. I didn't get this job at Service Titan because I sat there one day and was like, oh, well, I see this job listing and I'm not going to hit the apply button. No, literally, I saw a job at Service Titan and I was like, oh, I work with them. I'm just going to hit apply. And I hit apply. And the next thing I know, I got a job, a new career at Service Titan, where I have the ability to talk to thousands in the trades versus just this one company and help. And that's what really drew me, is that the gift of leadership gave me a choice, and I chose myself for the first time. And so whenever you're having a mindset issue, don't forget to choose yourself, because I think that sometimes we can talk negative to ourselves, but really in the end, it's just you. So be kind, be graceful, and be genuine with who you are.
Yeah, so out of everything you wrote there, I had invest in yourself, but then I put give yourself grace and forgive yourself quickly. Like, I love that you mentioned that. This is something that I've been, trying to work on my wife with, because she is her hardest and worst critic, and it's one of those things that it's hard for you to move forward and just push through things if you're constantly still worried and beating yourself up for something, you know, that you fell short on something. It's like, who cares? Like you know, as long as you got air in your lungs.
For so long.
That's
yeah,
right.
you don't want to live in the past. You know, that's the past. Let it go. You know, and I think that's what a lot of people forget is they just keep it with them and they keep that baggage. And I'm like, yes, that's your story, but it's not your story today. You have
That's
the
right.
moment, you have the ability to change at every second, every moment of every day. So give yourself that ability.
And it's just part of your story, right? So it's not your story; it's just part of it. And like, there's going to be other parts to it that are going to be
Beautiful
bolted
parts.
on. That's right, exactly. So it sounds like not only did you take advantage of a lot of the opportunities that were, you know, given to you or offered to you. It sounds like that because of those opportunities that you were so grateful for them, like it's like help, you know, shape you into this person that truly wants to keep giving back. Is that, am I kind of right there?
Yeah, most definitely. You know, I did take advantage of those opportunities in the best way. I made the right choices. And because everything is your choice. You can do it or you don't do it. You can not take action or you can sit there on the sidelines and watch. And I decided to take some big, massive action, like Chris Hunter would say, and just do it. And so it aligned with my purpose and my passion, and that's why I do what I do, is to give back. Because, like I said, they gave me a gift of life. Like, how can I repay them? And I'm not going to repay them forever for free, but no, I'm kidding. No, it's no.
Well,
I love the trades, and I will always be aligned with them. So.
Well, I think I was more referring to, because of some of these people that took chances on you, it's like you just feel. I mean, I've told you before, and I've messaged you and said, like, man, I just read what you posted in that group, and you're telling it to hundreds of people that may be inside of this private group, but just the value bombs that you drop in there are just, you know, something that I guarantee you there's been people that have paid thousands and thousands of dollars from a consultant to get that same information that you put out there. So it just seems like to me that you're always wanting to truly give everything that you've learned and that you continue to learn and grow from. Like, you're wanting to give back because, you know, people have invested in you and you know, given you those opportunities as well. And I just think that's awesome. You did mention Chris Hunter's name. So since you dropped his name, I'll use this opportunity to do a little plug, because I'll make sure to tag him on this, because I've been after him to get him on the show, and it's going to happen. But see, the guy lives like literally like a couple blocks away from me here where I live. So Chris, like, here's me calling you out, saying, like, we're going to have you on the show soon, and we'll do it live from the studio. Like, Sarah's in California, but
I'm going to call you out, Jonathan. How about you just walk over there and go and talk to him and just show up on camera.
I'll do it. Yeah, that'd be great. I doubt he's probably home at the moment, but because he seems to be a busy man that does a lot of traveling. But yeah, we're gonna get together soon. He's a great guy.
Yeah, he is a great guy. Yeah, I've met some amazing people working at Service Titan that I never even, you know, knew were around. And yeah, the exposure that I've had to the brilliant minds of the trades, I will forever be grateful for. Yeah,
I mean, I just got back Saturday night, so I was in California all last week.
And you didn't visit? You didn't tell me?
I was. Where are you at in California?
I'm like 30 minutes from Napa, where you were.
Oh, yeah. Now I feel terrible. See, I thought you were down towards LA.
No.
Yeah. So, but look, I went out there. I took one of my sales guys that really wanted to see Jason and Weldon put that event on, and but for me to be able to take something away from those guys, like, just being in the presence of people that, Jason Walker's one of those guys that he reminds me of you as far as like wanting to give back. Like he's willing to give any of the information he's got to anybody who asks for it because he truly wants to see people succeed. And I think, that's exactly what you do. It's like let's everybody win together because it's just going to make the world a better place,
Yeah, most definitely. And how we showed up during COVID as the trades, like it made my heart just absolutely full. Like if you saw everybody just powwowed together, they were like, yeah, this is happening and this is happening. And, and they just, how can I get through this? I mean, we went through 6 or 7 price increases just this year.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine like what that would do to the smaller business? It could shut them down. Or when the larger businesses were buying up all the supply, right? Like, we're all here to help each other, and I think like that's really the best part about those trade organizations and the groups that are on Facebook is that all I see is a lot of heart, and I just wanted to be a part of it.
Yeah, I'll tell you that there's not a day that goes by that I'm not thankful that my marketing agency is in this niche because again, COVID was a prime example. I mean, I saw people just coming together and truly wanting to help one another. And I saw it from my clients that were trying to help their competitors out right down the road. Like everyone truly wanted to come together and help. And it's like this industry is very, blue collar, and they are hardworking. Typically, there's a lot of family owned, there's a lot of second, third, and fourth generation companies, and it's like it's a really awesome thing when you get involved with the company and you see the history and you see how the family dynamic works, and it's a great feeling. Like I don't have any corporate clients or anything like that. I'm working with husbands and wives, and the kids are running parts of the business, are going to be taking it over, and like it's a really special feeling. And I made a post recently talking about getting to spend a lot of time last week in California with one of my clients out there, and it's like when you can turn those relationships from clients into friends, I mean it's special. And it's like this industry is full of people that you can make your friend. Like no matter how big they are, no matter how big their company is, they will get down on your level and they'll be your friend, and they'll give any of the information that they have if you ask for it because they want to see you succeed.
Yeah, that's it. That's all it's about, is just helping others and making them whatever they want to be. Like you don't need to be a $70 million HVAC company. You just need to have an exit strategy to where you feel happy. And that's all I want to provide you, is just help to get there.
All right, so the last topic I want to talk about is money. So you mentioned, well, you don't even know what I'm going to ask. You said, yeah, so can you give me some money? Let's start there.
No.
Yes. You said yes. I heard it right before you said yes.
I didn't say yes, I would give you money.
I said, let's talk about money. You said yes, but what I was going to say was, will you give me some money? And then we're just going to go with
I have to say no to that.
Okay.
I'm going to set a boundary.
So you talk about exit strategy just now. You mentioned exit strategy. So let's talk about exit strategy, but then let's talk about maybe margins or something. Like from your experience in this space, in this industry, how important is the money aspect of it? I truly personally feel that it is one of the most overlooked parts of this industry. Like people focus on how much revenue did I do, but they don't focus on their margins, and they're not looking at their net profit numbers. I think I've got a couple of clients that are $2 to $4 million companies and are in much better financial shape than some people or clients I have that are maybe at $15 or $20 million, right? So how important is it? What kind of advice can you give on how to get your numbers where they need to be if you're preparing for an exit strategy, or if you're just trying to grow your business in general? I mean, if you don't know how to scale properly, like how quickly is that going to be, the death of you?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it's all about, if you don't do the math before you do the work, then, and it's math from, like I said, you got to start with, what do you have? Where do you want to go? And how are you going to get there? Right? And all of that has math. And, people will do the math for you. And there are great teachers, EIGA, Gary Aliski's. He was the one that gave me my first HVAC Marketing 101 class, and forever grateful for him. But he has a great class for business planning. And, when I work at Service Titan, so I'm helping build marketing product for the trades. So the budgeting piece and the math piece and the capacity planning, it all is very dear to my heart. So it is something that you might see in the future. But for me, it's just sit down, look at your math daily, know your numbers and margins and percentages and where it hits the bottom line. Are you, from a marketing standpoint, the biggest problem that I see is A, there's no math, B, you're going outside of your service area to where really your drive time is not efficient. And so it's going to hit the bottom line in operational expenses and labor and gas and all of this. So there's so much to learn, but there are great people out there that you can learn from, and really take the time and invest in yourself as a business to say, does this financially make sense? Does this math make sense? And if it looks funky, then how do I make it not look funky? And and then hold people accountable for the numbers that you are forecasting and setting as goals.
I love it.
Does that make sense?
No, it does. It does for me.
Okay.
Like we actually just implemented EOS into our agency, and my implementer, my new CFO, like she has a background. Her and her husband have bought and sold 3 or 4 different air conditioning companies. So I am pushing her. Like she's going to come on and do a webinar and a podcast, but I'm pushing her to like come up with some things, since you know the air conditioned business, plus you understand the financials and you know how to do the right forecasting. Like help me put something together to give back to this industry, because I feel like so many people focus on that total revenue number, but they're just lost on the actual, like the substance to it. Like I've kind of showed you how we go to market and how we put a plan together for our clients, and how, if they tell us they want to grow from 4 million to 8 million, that we're going to plug in their information, right? Like I need to know what their average close rates are, their average installs are. I want to know what their overhead costs are, what their their job costs are, because we're gonna plug in their numbers and reverse engineer it. Because I may have 2 clients that want to grow by $4 million in a year, or 2 million. It doesn't matter what the number is. But if one's got an average install of $18,000 and has a 40% close rate, and the other one's got a $6,500 average install and a 35% close rate, like the marketing plan is not going to be the same. It's not even going to be in the same ballpark as one another, right? So just to simply say, all right, well, here's the package or program you need to be in, and let's just put you in that one size fits all, you're just setting that person up for disaster. And that's why time after time the clients that come to us, they're jaded, unfortunately. They've been through this marketing company, it's been the same old song and dance. And I think I don't want to think that there's that many bad or unethical marketing companies out there. I just think everyone's trying to make everyone the same. Oh, you're at 2 million, you want to get to 4, here we go, this is what we're going to do. And it's not that easy, because when we plug them into that spreadsheet, the formula that we've come up with that I've shared with you, we'll put in somebody's average numbers and stuff, and then it's like when you start calculating what the average cost per click is, let's say for Google AdWords in their particular area for a particular month, and we say, all right, so the on-demand keywords, right? So AC repair, if we're going to focus on the AC repair keyword, if that cost per click in that area that they're in is, let's say, $60, and we're trying to convert 1 out of every 3 or 1 out of every 4 clicks we're trying to make into an actual booked job, somebody, based on their margins and their numbers, they can't afford $180 or $240 cost per lead. They can't afford it because of the way that their business is structured and the way that their margins are set. So putting a plan in place like that for that person, not truly understanding what their internal numbers are, I think you're also setting them up for a complete disaster. So,
And I think that's a good thing to have the internal marketer, right? Because they're going to
yep,
manage that to a T, and they're going to make sure that they're not going over their marketing expense to revenue, because that's what they own. They're accountable for this. And a lot of times when we work with our vendors, and I've seen some where they're like, okay, you just spend this amount per month and you'll be fine. And this will
yep.
be in like AdWords, and it's consistent. It's the same spend every month. And I'm like, that's not even good advice. Like, that's not even near good advice, right? Like, you can't spend the same, like, you're, like, literally, there's a May and June, and they have different names. So why wouldn't you have different budgets? Like, let me just break it down in the most simple way. But, but I've seen money just be wasted over and over again with vendors. And that's why I say create a partnership of education, because both of you are going to learn.
Yep.
And that is that, and like you say, your partnerships with your vendors become friendships for life. And they really do. You know, I have some of the best friends from the trades that I like. Stacy introduced me to Lauren and Renee and Rachel and John and Jessica, you know, and Lori, like all these people I would not even met if someone didn't take the time to give me an introduction. So ask questions, meet people, be vulnerable, be honest, be who you are. And I don't know it all. I'm not a guru. I will never be a guru of
Yeah.
marketing. I will just be a marketer learning every single day of what I should and shouldn't do. And I will fail forward a lot. Trust me. And that's
I
how I
like
know
that.
this stuff.
Hey, I like that. And you're like, reach out and ask people and be vulnerable, because like that's how, I mean, I'm the kind of person I'll reach out and ask anyone for help or advice. And I'm also an open book and will give anybody or help anybody any way I can. I believe that that's kind of what makes the world goes around, and what you put out will definitely come back to you. And like I reached out to you just because, and I was just like praising you, like, man, what you just wrote on there was absolutely amazing. And then I said, I'd love to jump on a call and pick your brain. And I think we did that call and talk before I even had the podcast launch. So like, I wasn't even inviting you to anything then. I just wanted to pick your brain and just figure out, where does it come from? Because when you go like, and I've actually copied and pasted some, they're in the notes in my phone, because sometimes they're like 800 words. Like you go on these thesis statements about, how to help with someone's marketing. I absolutely love it.
That is my brain on fire. And I'm like, limit your words, Sarah. No one's going to understand you. And I'm like, oh, whatever. They can figure it out later.
All right, so you just spoke of yourself in third person. So now we're to the we're to the end of the show, and we're gonna throw one final random question in there, and it has to do about your name. So, if you had to pick a new name for yourself, what would you pick?
Oh, a new name for myself, and it could be whatever I wanted.
Whatever you want. Like, this is, you're getting to just from scratch.
Oh my gosh. Well, I've had a lot of last names, to be honest. And I can't say Sarah very well because I have like a speech impediment. So anything without an R, I don't know. I guess I've never really thought about that. I don't know, something cool.
All right, well, think about it. Let me tell you what mine would be. And here's, and I only thought of this because I've never thought of it until I pulled the random question and I was going to ask you. And the name Juan Pablo came to my name. And I think it was because of The Bachelor or something a few years back. And I just remember that, like, I guess it's like the way it rolls off the tongue. And I think every woman in the country was down with Juan Pablo.
With
so
Juan
it's like,
Pablo.
Juan Pablo, yeah.
Okay.
So that's what I'm going to go with.
Okay. Well, if I had to choose a band name, it would be Bo Nasty. Like that. I've always wanted to name a band Bo Nasty, and it spells Beaux, and then like nasty. I don't know why. It was just something that I've always had in the back of my head.
So that's like Cajun. Like that's like New Orleans style.
Yeah.
Bo Nasty. Okay.
Yeah. I like the name Bo, but I don't want that for my name, so I don't know. Thanks for asking that question, Jonathan. I have no idea. I will slap you.
And that's why it's a random question. So maybe next time I have you back, you'll be prepared with the new name, and then
Don't
we'll
worry,
actually.
I'll comment in this thing, and I'll give you a name.
Okay. Perfect.
Okay.
And then the next time you're on, we're actually going to give you that name. Like, that'll be the title the whole time.
Okay.
All right?
So it's going to be really good. I'm ready.
I mean,
Okay.
well, Sarah, I want to thank you. It was a pleasure getting to speak to you and pick through that brain of yours, because there's so much information and knowledge, and I definitely want to have you back, because this was just like scraping the tip of what I have seen you put out there. So maybe you can give us some updates next time, or maybe the new products and stuff will be launched, because I know you're working on some amazing things there at Service Titan. So
Yeah.
I just want to thank you for your time today, and any final words of encouragement that you would like to leave any of the guests of today's show.
I would just say, believe in yourself, make good choices, and go take massive action, because you deserve it. And
Awesome.
Jonathan, thank you for having me. It's always
Absolutely.
a pleasure talking to you. I really appreciate
Thank
it.
you so much, Sarah. Have a great day. I do appreciate it.
You too.